Today, on What It's Like, my favorite Swedish car ever made, Volvo P1800. But before getting into all of it, I'm Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that dives in deep with the specs, shows these cars like you've never seen them before, button switches and knobs, and most importantly, shows what these cars are like. If that sounds like a channel that you will totally dig, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. 1972 Volvo model lineup. These aren't in any particular order. 142, 144, 145, 164, and the P1800. Volvo produced the P1800 from 1961 to 1973. The design of the P1800 is so far out of left field for a company like Volvo, and Volvo looked over at what Porsche was doing in the late 50s and just about every other company in Europe in general. Like Volkswagen had the Karmann Ghia, Porsche had the 356, Alfa had the Juliet. Volvo wanted a quote-unquote sports car of their own. The brains behind the P1800 was Helmer Pedersen, who was an engineering consultant for Volvo. He was responsible for Volvo PV444 in the 40s. And bear with me, guys, this is going to be a struggle because I suck at pronunciations as it is, and there's a lot of Italian names coming. Helmer would let his son, Palais, design the car under Italian auto stylist Pietro Frua. Frua's studio was a subsidiary of Ghia. Volvo was blown away by the result and was under the impression that Frua designed the car, when in reality, it was actually Palais' design, and he wouldn't get the recognition until 2009. 3 prototypes were made in 1957, P958X1, P958X2, and P958X3, all of which were hand-built. Just look at this design. The prototype and the final product are very similar. Did you ever wonder what a car might look like, say, if a Porsche 356 and a Karmann Ghia shacked up and had a kid? I think this would be the end result. And as the story goes, they were supposed to be produced by Karmann, but Volkswagen wouldn't allow Karmann to take the job. It wasn't until January of 1960, that Volvo showed the car at Brussels Motor Show. And this is where the head scratcher for me comes in. Volvo was going around looking for outside companies to produce this car. They went to NSU and other German companies that I dare not pronounce because I'll totally butcher the name. Volvo was founded in 1927, so why couldn't they just build it themselves? They ended up going to Jensen, who agreed to build 10,000 units. Jensen would only build about 6,000 cars. Due to quality control issues, Volvo decided to produce the car themselves. There are 3 versions or generations of the 1800. The P1800, which was produced from 1961 to 1963. These were the early cars that are built by Jensen. P1800. B18 engine is what powers it. It makes 100 horsepower. Be very wary of these cars if you go to look for them because they had quality control problems from day one. P1800S was produced from 1963 to 1969. The S stands for Sweden. It was powered by the B20 engine. It made 115 horsepower. Let's talk about this era of P1800. It's honestly my favorite era of these cars. In 1966, a teacher by the name of Irving Gordon walked into a Volvo dealership and bought one of these brand new. A Volvo built P1800S and drove it until the odometer read 3.2 million miles. Let me repeat that, 3.2 million miles. The car still lives. Unfortunately, Gordon passed away on November 15th of 2018. His 66 Volvo is in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most miles on a car. I will link where he talks about what he had to do to make his car last that long, and it's really not as bad as you think. I think he only had to rebuild the engine twice, which is crazy. The P1800E was produced from 1970 to 1973. The E stands for fuel injected. 1970 was the first year to offer 4-wheel disc brakes. Volvo would offer a station wagon version called the Shooting Brake, which was the P1800ES. Let's compare. Much like most European cars, the P1800 really didn't change all that much. The biggest styling changes between the P1800S and the P1800E externally were the bumpers, gas filler placement. The grills are totally different. The P1800E also has these chunky side marker lights. The biggest changes between these two cars are the engines and the dashboards, but before getting into the dash regions, it's worth mentioning that the P1800 had a predecessor, which was a total flop, the P1900, and they look nothing alike. They only made 68 of them. Alright, P18S on the top and P1800E on the bottom. The P1800S dash is one of the most sexiest dashes ever designed. Not saying the P1800E isn't attractive, it just looks sort of utilitarian. No wonder Irving Gordon drove his car as much as he did. Looking at this dash, it would be so sweet. 2-spoke steering wheel versus 3-spoke steering wheel. Which one do you like better in the comment section below? Let's talk specs. 173.3 inches long, 67 inches wide, 50.5 inches tall, 98.6 inches is the wheelbase that it rides on. It weighs 2,450 pounds. Price, $4,850, which is equivalent to you spending $34,906.08 in the year 2023. The modern day equivalent would be buying a Subaru BRZ. Even though the BRZ is a little bit cheaper than this car, I think the BRZ is pretty comparable to this car. Total Volvo P1800 coupes sold during the duration of its production run was 39,407 units, of which the P1800E, 9,414 units. Moving on to engine. 1986cc inline 4-cylinder, 2 liters. It makes 130 brake horsepower at 6,000 RPM, 130 pound-feet of torque at 3,500 RPM, bore of 3.5 inches and a stroke of 3.2 inches. Compression is 10.5 to 1, has 5 main bearings, and it is fueled by Bosch electronic port fuel injection. When mated to a 4-speed standard shift, 0 to 60 could be had in 9.6 seconds. Theoretical top speed 110 miles per hour. Average fuel consumption and or what you could expect to get anywhere between 25 to 30 miles per gallon. This 1972 Volvo P1800 is brought to you courtesy of Classic Auto Mall, which is currently for sale in Morgantown, Pennsylvania, along with 911 other cars. Be sure to click the link below after the show for more information, pricing, and pictures. Let's talk styling. Look at how this nose piece just kind of bulges out. It's almost like the mouth of a fish. But I absolutely love the styling of this car, especially the tail end design, but we're going to get there shortly. This one's got bumper guards. It's a very clean design car, this is. It's got a nice cowl there. Look at the windshield it wraps around and drip rails. Just look at how clean this is. Look how this line comes down here. The fenders have a little bit of a roll to them, and they're flared ever so slightly, but not aggressively. One of my favorite lines on this car is this one right here, how it sweeps up to the door handle. I love that the door handle is part. It almost looks like this trim piece that starts here and then it goes out the rear. I also love this line of the car. This car has really nice lines. The fastback line almost looks like 65 Mustang. Especially like right there. I don't know, can you guys see it? I can see it from this angle. This car has some really nice fins. And if you know me, I'm into fins. It also has a nice side fin that comes back into this light section. Volvo 1800E backup light. This one displays that it's an automatic. Notice how the trunk lid slopes down. It also comes up at almost a little bit of an angle. See, it's like slanted. Bumpers have rubber guards. Might as well get in the trunk while we're back here. Just simply push the button. And that's what the trunk section looks like. It's got a scissor jack and there's no spare tire, but that's the rim. I suppose that you could mount a spare tire to if you'd like. This trunk is pretty big, all things considered, and the trunk lid goes up high. The load floor is relatively high, so you'd have to pick up stuff and actually put it inside here. Look at the mirror placement. Also, look at how big this mirror is. Here's my hand for reference. It's a pretty big mirror. Coming back, getting inside. So just check out the door panel and all the materials used. I love the two-tone black at the top, black armrest, and a tannish, brownish door panel. Window crank for the big window operates like this. Notice the shape of the window. The door handle to get out is down underneath pocket. Check out that armrest. Very interesting design. Take a look at this interior. There is a back seat. Down inside the pedal box. That's what the door sounds like shutting. Here is what over the hood impression looks like. Here's what first person over the hood impression looks like. I love this dashboard. On to the button switches and knobs, moving from left to right. Wipers, rear defroster, headlights, four-way flasher, brake lights, tachometer, oil temperature, coolant temperature, speedometer, tripometer with odometer. At the bottom of the gauge, idiot lights for amp meter turn signals. Notice there's only one light for both right and left turn signals. High beam indicator, seat belt light, oil pressure, gasoline gauge, clock, panel lights, ignition, fan, climate controls just below, drive modes read, park, reverse, neutral, drive, second, and first, ashtray, lighter, radio. Here is what under the steering wheel situation looks like. The steering wheel isn't in my crotch per se. The steering wheel is a bit weird. It comes right out of the dashboard and it's not angled up anyhow. It's weird how it is. Up above, sun visors, they're a bit, here's my hand for reference, has a small cutout, but it does not, the cutout part doesn't match where the rear view mirror is. It's got a rear view mirror with daytime, nighttime feature, and another sun visor over there. This is what I look like sitting in the front seat. And my hair is grazing the top of the headliner, which I find to be kind of weird because I owned a Karmann Ghia and I fit in that car. This car, it feels smaller than a Karmann Ghia, and that's weird to me. Ashtray. Look at these vents. It's very Mercedes-Benz like. These vents are. They're cool though, I like them. On to the glove box test. Here's our test subject. Here's my hand for reference. Here is this one doesn't have a glove box. I guess we're not doing the glove box test. There is not a glove box. There is a center console hole, which it doesn't fit in. These are for the seat belts. Karmann Ghia had something similar to this right here, but not for the seat belt, but for the heater. I'm getting Karmann Ghia vibes. All right, getting under the hood. So there it is, inline 4-cylinder. This one's fuel injected. The battery sits back there. Coils all the way over here. On the positive side, pleasant touring car, good mileage, nicely equipped, robust construction, milestone cars. Against it, bathtub driving position, crowded interior, no headroom, body parts now difficult to find, somewhat rust-prone, throbby engine. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather? Steak or chicken, paper or plastic? 2 scenarios today. All right, first scenario, money isn't an object for either of these. 1965 Porsche 356 or 1966 Volvo P1800S or 1966 Alfa Romeo Juliet. If you need more time, feel free to pause the video. Moving on to the second scenario, 1952 Nash Healey or 1953 Kaiser Darren or 1951 Nash Healey. All right, now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to give me both the band and song title correct in the comment section is the key word. We'll have their comment pinned to the top of the comment section. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below. I read and answer all comments posted. It will always be like that because I want to run this channel different than everybody else runs theirs. If you'd like to talk to me one-on-one, the easiest way is find me on Facebook and shoot me a direct message. If you don't have Facebook and would like to get a hold of me, send me an email. All of that will be linked in the description below. Just know I appreciate all of the support, and until next time, here are some scenes for our next episode. 1953 Hudson Superjet. That's what's next on What It's Like. Catch that episode tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to push the time slot back. Summertime's coming. We're going to try it at 9 o'clock for a little bit. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, toodaloo! In your opinion, what is the most overrated car brand that is on sale today?